Good morning. I'm drinking a glass of raw milk from Charlie's Farm Shop in Bury, and it's very lovely. Better than the pasteurised, standardised, homogenised milk. This has got all the good bacteria in it, and I thoroughly recommend it. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you slightly differently today because we're fast approaching Christmas, aren't we? And as we start to get towards the end of the year and everybody takes a couple of weeks off at Christmas, don't they? We see that people get very busy this last little bit. They're busy trying to finish whatever contracts and work that they've got, the targets they've got to get through if they're working, or they're also busy trying to get the various presents together for Christmas. And it is a very, very busy time. And hang on, let's just have another slurp of this. And I wanted to say in this video, don't forget you. Are you looking after you? I mean, many of us are looking at the news. We're getting worried by the news. We see all these things that are going on in the world and we get very upset. We perhaps become paranoid. We perhaps even get fearful that something, dreadful is going to happen. And we get wrapped up in that. And then there's those people in the truth and the freedom movement who are trying to analyze what is happening, what's really behind the story, what is not being told, what secrets are out there that have been hidden and that we ought to know. And is there dangers in that, or is there good news in that? And I think that it's very difficult. It's very difficult when you're coming up towards the end of the year and you've got all these things flying around. You're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, and we forget about us. And I wanted this message really in this video just to sort of say, are you looking after yourself? Because unless we look after ourselves, we can't look after anybody else. They say that in aeroplanes, don't they? When the oxygen mask supposedly comes down and you have to put it on yourself first rather than your loved ones around you, because if you run out of oxygen, how can you help the others? And I think, there's merit in that we must take responsibility for ourselves again, and we need to look after ourselves, make sure we're eating good food, proper food, organic food, healthy food, that we are able to have some exercise, but more importantly, to slow down, to take those moments out of the frenetic world that we're living in. The world has become so busy. We're messaging each other, we're texting each other. I was only saying to the lovely Julia yesterday, I was saying, it's funny how it's very easy if you're, say, in the kitchen and you're on your own and you kind of can't bear the silence. Now, I made a video about this some while ago, but I think it's still true, and you reach for something to break the silence, that it's almost as if we cannot be alone with our own thoughts. And that's very sad, because we take ourselves out of the moment. We're always either being distracted by something and then worrying about, oh my goodness, we'll put a video on and we'll listen to a video that it may be fun video, it may be a music video, or just music or a band or something that we like, but we distract ourselves from the very moment. And I was saying to Julia, sometimes it's quite nice to actually make sure we do turn off everything. And so as you're preparing a meal, for example, you're chopping the onion and you're smelling the onion. You're perhaps unwrapping a sirloin steak or braising steak or bacon or cracking an egg, whatever it is. And you're in the moment, you're feeling that moment with that object as you're preparing a meal, perhaps giving that meal upper vibrations. Why not? A bit of love, so that when it's in you, it's doing you some good. We do distract ourselves all the time. We don't take enough time for us to just sit down and relax. Now, as you know, I enjoy smoking a pipe. I haven't got one immediately to hand. They're all scattered around the house, but I enjoy smoking a pipe. It makes me slow down, because you can't smoke a pipe very fast as you can with a cigarette. And I've understood now that nicotine, of course, is not the horrible thing that we were all being led to believe, that actually it has a lot of good benefits to us. And so that's very useful. But it slows you down. A pipe slows you down. Cigarettes, I'm not interested in it. That to me is not something I want to do. But a pipe will slow me down. Reading will slow me down. It'll sit down. Sometimes I read out loud. There'll be nobody here, and I'll read aloud, just to take things a bit easier, to get me away from the nonsense. But very often just sitting and being in my own company is a very good thing. Breathing, of course. You might say, oh, well, hang on, Richard, that's a bit of an oxymoron there, isn't it? You talked about smoking and then you're talking about breathing. Well, they're two different things. Obviously, you breathe all the time, but concentrating on your breathing and breathing in and allowing your thoughts to go where they are, but without trying to pin them down and worry about them and stress over things. And just say, do you know what? I'm going to close the door for 15 minutes and I'm just going to not worry about anybody else or anything, all those pressing things. I'm just going to take it easy. I'm just going to sit here and take a moment. And I feel that we're ever more forced online, behind screens, to meet targets, to be distracted, and we're not looking after ourselves. I find it myself, and I fight against it. I'm a very busy chap. I have emails from my viewers. I have videos to make and people to see and all those sort of things. And I'm writing a book at the moment, so I think, oh gosh, you know, if I have a moment, I ought to be at the desk writing. And I think we do need to take time out from all of everything, all the stresses and the strains, to look after ourselves and in a way listen to ourselves, listen to our inner voice. What do we really need? Trying obviously to eat healthy foods and healthy drinks, and all of that is very, very important. And if we can just take a few moments in our day to look after ourselves, to think about the things that we need, rather than all the time everybody else piling on their stuff. I think that's just a very useful message to remember, because as they say, if you don't look after yourself, you can't be of any use to anyone else. And the last thing we really want to be is so stressed that we end up in hospital or ill in our beds and other people are fussing round us because we just didn't take enough time to look after ourselves. You may have a completely different viewpoint on all of that. Perhaps you think that it is not a good idea to sit and be still and to listen to your inner voice. But whatever you do, just for a few moments, think about making sure you're okay. The oil in your engine is spot on. The petrol or diesel is doing its thing. The windscreen wipers are nice and clean. The radiator is topped up. Because if you do all those things with your motor, your car can travel along on those roads without problems. And sometimes we just forget about ourselves, don't we? Because we're so damn busy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, cheers.